Good morning. This is the Rules and Legislative Oversight Committee. We are resuming the hearing on CC 23-0424. We are joined by Council Vice President Middleton, Councilman Costello, Councilman Conway, Councilman Ramos, Councilman Torrance, and Councilman Burnett. And the purpose of this hearing is to hold the voting session, but before we do that, I will open the floor to anybody who wishes to testify, to step up to the podium, and then we'll take it from there. Does anybody wish to speak? Just push the right button so that your microphone lights up, and then you can begin speaking.
That it? Thank you.
You're good, Bob.
Good morning. My name is Robert Enton. I was here for the bill hearing a week and a half ago, I guess. And just to be on the record, for my clients that I represent, and on this bill, I've registered for the Maryland Bankers Association, the American Property Casualty Insurers Association, and the Maryland Multi-Housing Association, which is the landlords. It's my understanding, I've had a conversation with the city solicitor this morning, and it's my understanding that the bill will be amended. I haven't seen the amendments yet to specifically adopt the exemptions that are in the state statute. So that addresses the concerns of the insurers. They are specifically exempted in the state statute. But it doesn't do anything for the landlords or for the bankers. This statute, the state statute, was adopted in the 70s. And as long as I've been doing this, that was before my time. I started to represent the banking industry in the late 80s. There's no industry that's more heavily regulated anywhere in the United States than the banking industry. You're regulated at the state level if you're a state charter bank. You're regulated whether you're a national bank or a state charter bank by the FDIC, by the Federal Reserve, by the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. You're subject to all the federal laws and regulations, the Truth in Lending Act, you name it. Now, why the bankers weren't included in the exemptions like the insurance companies, because they are heavily regulated, like the public utility companies, they are heavily regulated. The realtors, you go down the laundry list if you look in the state statute. I don't think the solicitor is amenable to including the banks or the landlords in the exemption. That's something that we both feel can be done. I understand where the solicitor's coming from. When you look at the language in the Maryland law, the state law, it says that a political subdivision may adopt a more stringent statute than the state statute. May. It doesn't say that they cannot adopt a less stringent statute. It says they may adopt a more stringent statute. Now, I understand her reading of it, but it just seems to me that if it's a matter of policy, if the city is going to exempt these other industries, the Bankers Association are heavily regulated. I don't think anybody's got more statutes, consumer-friendly statutes that apply to them than the landlords do at the local level and at the state level. I just wanted to go on record to say, thank the city solicitor's office for taking the time to speak to us. Thank all of you for listening to me, and I want to thank the chairman, who I've bugged the hell out of, as you can only imagine, over the last couple of weeks. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Any questions? No. All right, thanks a lot, Bob. And just to get this on the record again, to clarify, because I know we spoke about it at length last time, my question for the law department is I just want to be clear that it is your position that we can only make things stricter rather than more lenient than the state code. Is that correct?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Yes, that is the opinion of Advice and Opinions, and that was what was testified to at the last hearing.
Okay. So thank you for that, and that is consistent with the advice and opinions that this body has gotten since I've been here for 7 years through 3 solicitors. They've all consistently said the same thing, and so we had a lengthy discussion about that when it came to this bill, and so there's nobody who's like excluded in this law that I'm aware of. I think this is just consistent with the state law. The only difference is when it comes to penalties, we have an amendment here, which I'm happy to read the details on. But what this amendment does is it removes the criminal penalty from the merchant, and it's just a financial penalty. And so on page 1, after line 28, between merchant and sale, to insert person and the number, the remaining of the list accordingly. And on page 4, at the beginning of line 12, add in determining whether to initiate legal proceedings under this subtitle. On that same page, in line 13, strike the words of a merchant. On the same page, beginning in line 16 and continuing in line 17, strike the words and pursuant to the Maryland rules. On page 5, in lines 2, strike subject to Maryland rules. On the same page, in line 3, substitute the word this for the word the. So anybody who is in violation of any of these consumer protection rules, either in the city or the state, they could still be prosecuted on the state level if there is a criminal aspect to it. But as far as something that violates the consumer protection laws on the city level, it would be a financial penalty, and the litigation, whatever the end result of that would be. And so first things first, I'd like to do is entertain a motion to approve the law department's amendments that I just read out loud.
So Torrance.
Moved by Torrance, seconded by Ramos. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The amendments are adopted. And so do I have a motion to move Council Bill 23-0424?
So moved.
Moved by Conway, seconded by Ramos. We'll do a roll call vote on this bill.
Okay. Chair Schleifer.
Yes.
Chair Schleifer votes aye. Mr. Burnett. Yes. Mr. Burnett votes aye. Mr. Costello. Aye. Mr. Costello votes aye. Vice President Middleton. Aye. Vice President Middleton votes aye. Member Ramos. Yes. Member Ramos votes aye. Mr. Torrance. Aye. Mr. Torrance votes aye. Mr. Conway. Aye. Mr. Conway votes aye. Mr. Chair, it's unanimous. There's 7 votes in the affirmative, no negatives. We can go to second reader at the discretion of the chair.
So we will, this will go to second reader at the next council meeting, which will be tonight. I want to thank the solicitor and the law department for all their work on this bill and for all the conversations with the various groups to make sure that any questions are answered and whatever clarity is provided, and that we can put forth a bill that will support and help the citizens of Baltimore. And so I thank all of you for your time and efforts, and all the groups for coming in and working with us. And we are now adjourned.